All right, we back at it. Chuck Dizzle, live and direct, man. Keeping it homegrown, man. I got family in the building, as I always like to talk with folks that not only I've had the pleasure of seeing grow for some time, evolve over the years, and just at the next stage in their life. And I'm loving what this dude is doing right now, man. I know him by TJ. You know what I'm saying? Lionell Tillman.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yes. TJ with the scar, I mean, but we talking to Lionell right now, man.
Right,
and my man is an author. He's got a lot of things going, businessman, author. Child support is a fraud.
Yeah, unfortunately, child support is fraud.
So the moment I kind of seen you pushing this, right, and really explaining what this is, and I have you break it down, I have you break down the book, I instantly knew it was going to be a conversation piece.
Right.
I loved how you started adding the other tag, right? Because I feel like the message was off-putting for a lot of people when they hear that, because automatically you think, it's a fraud. It's fraud. What you doing not taking care of your kids?
You want to take care of your kids.
But take care of them kids, though.
Because this ain't no get-out-of-jail-free card.
There it is. So explain to us how we get here and your story and your journey and why you felt it was necessary to kind of highlight this message.
Right. Look, I mean, we family, so let's go.
Come on, man. Let me
there
we go.
Look at my man and this family.
Man, and let him know that it's velvet, okay? The
velvet
what is
very
that, velvet?
what is that, velvet?
T-Mac in the building as well, man. T-Mac, good to see you as well,
man,
brother.
This is beautiful. Yeah, man. Unfortunately for me, I found out about my child support case 7 years after it opened.
Wow.
I found out about it through HR on payday.
Wait, so they garnished your wages?
Yeah, on my payday.
So, and that's how you knew?
That's how I found out.
What? Okay. Rewind real quick. So there was no initial conversation like, hey, I'm going to put you on child support.
No.
Wow.
So, like I said, I found out about it 7 years later. It's payday. Get it, call from HR. Hey, come check us out. I go in HR. They said, we just got a wage garnishment. They're going to start garnishing your checks effective immediately. I'm like, who's going to start garnishing my checks? They like, child support. I'm like, child support? What do you mean child support? They said, look, all we got is this notice. I looked at the notice. I called them, and they telling me, look, man, you had 6 months to respond according to family code, such and such, such. It's been 7 years. I'm like, wait, what do you mean it's been 7 years? Like, yeah, it's been 7 years. Your response at this point is untimely, and there's nothing that can be done. And that went on for another 13 years, actually 15 years.
Bro, I know you to be an amazing father, right? And so that when I saw the messages go out there, I'm like, and I understand why you're talking about it, but I'm like, this dude is a good dad. Like, I don't understand why you would be put on child support. And we won't get into the ins and outs and you and your relationship or anything like that, but I guess my initial question is, if there was no notice that you received, like you didn't get anything, like how does somebody miss that?
Because it gets missed because first, child support, they don't do checks nor balances. This all started when I was a minor. Like it gets deep. It goes back. Like the child in question was conceived when I was 12 years old.
Okay. Whoa. All right.
Right.
Wait. Wait.
Time out. I just want to highlight this. I will go back to what you said about 5 seconds ago. It's no checks and balances. Just keynote.
Okay.
There's no checks and balances. Ain't nobody looking at this stuff.
Yeah.
So on paper, the child was conceived when you were 12.
When I was 12.
TJ, did you have a kid when you were 12?
What we found out is I wasn't even producing semen at that time. I hadn't even reached puberty.
Okay.
To even produce semen. So this started before, and I was even an adult. And I really don't dive it into the aspect of as far as like with her, because my whole goal is not to tear her down.
Got you.
And like anything that I say regarding that and regarding her is gonna make her look real bad.
Got you.
So, but it is. That went on for another 7 years, like until I was adult. When I turned 23, this is when I found out about the child support case. and there's no checks and balances.
So you made your mission to kind of just, all right, well, let me get this correct first and foremost.
Nah, because I was told when I found out about it, I was told that there was nothing that can be done. So I went to the courts. The courts, they get you with the family law facilitator. The family law facilitator says, well, according to family code, same thing, there's nothing that can be done.
So you just think your hands are like,
my hands are tied for for the next 13, 15 years. So during this time, they're garnishing my checks. They're taking money. I'm paying them. They're suspending my license. I'm giving them additional $50 a month to keep my license. On top of that, my license is still getting suspended every year.
But I'm paying y'all.
Not only are y'all taking my money, I'm paying y'all additional money to keep my license, and it's still getting suspended every year for a system error.
Excuse my ignorance. I don't understand. What does your license have to do with child support?
That's their main coercion tactic to get you to pay this unlawful debt.
But if you can't go to work, like, isn't a license you be able to drive to work? Doesn't that hinder the process of actually getting work?
And exactly what you just said, those are the exact words of the Department of Justice. In 2016 and April 20 of 2023, the Department of Justice issued a Dear Colleague letter to the courts and to child support saying exactly what you just said verbatim. It's counterproductive to suspend someone's license to pay this debt when how can they get a job?
And we're talking pre-COVID, we're talking pre-working from home, we're talking where transportation is very essential to work.
Yes. Man, during this, so this goes back, the case started in 1996.
Okay. Okay.
It started back in 1996. When I found out about it, it was 2003. It goes on until 2020. Now, like I said, they suspended my license every year. This goes on for 13 years. This particular year, I'm just fed up. I don't know why, because we're doing the same dance every year. I have to call you guys, pay you another $50 to release my license, pay the DMV another $75 to give me to release my license, to reinstate it
for no reason.
For no reason. Every year we're doing the same thing, and I'm like, I'm calling them. I'm like, yo, I don't even know why we going through this. Like, why you keep telling me it's a system error? Like, fix it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I don't even know why I'm going through this anyway. Like, man, this is fraud. And a lady said, fraud? What do you mean fraud?
On the phone?
On the phone.
Okay.
I'm talking to a representative at their headquarters in Torrance. She like, what do you mean fraud? You got served. I'm like, wait, I got served? She said, yeah, you got served. I said, okay, well, tell me what day I got served. She placed me on hold while I'm on the phone. She placed me on hold. She comes back and says, I'm sorry, Mr. Tillman. We don't have your signature. But before I can say anything, she interrupts me and says, well, that don't matter anyway, because you volunteered into the program. I did what? I volunteered into the program because child support is voluntary. We're going to touch on that.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
please.
And I'm like, tell me what day I volunteered. She said, okay. I'm going to tell you what day we got your signature. She placed me on hold.
Please hold. Let's do this again.
Yeah, let's do this dance again. I'm on the phone. She comes back. I'm sorry, Mr. Tillman. We do not have your signature. I'm going crazy on the phone. I need to speak to the manager, the president. Right. I need to talk to everybody. Yeah. And, you know, she got me to the Unbuzz department, which is like, they are the internal affairs for child support. Nothing happened. They said that she made a mistake and they just try to sweep it under the rug. Me being me, I said, okay, well, you've already told me that I was supposed to get served and I didn't. You told me that I was supposed to volunteer into the program, which I didn't. So then I started doing the research.
No, they told you that you were already in it.
No, but
both of those times.
What they're telling me is for me to get in it, these things had to happen.
Got it. Okay.
So I started doing research. What else are they supposed to do? And this is how I stumbled on their regulations to where it tells them they have strict guidelines on what they have to do to open these cases. So I don't have no legal background. So once I took them to court, I kept it real simple. Did you follow your own policy?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Got you.
Kept it real simple.
So you were able to find a lot of the loopholes that they didn't even follow the rules on.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly. And that's where the term child support is fraud comes from, because this is your own procedures. This is your policy. This is custom. If you're not following your own policy, you guys have rules in place that says these judgments are void. And if they're void and you're enforcing a void judgment and you know it, that's what makes it fraud.
So initially when you're having these conversations and putting the word out there, because you have a book as well, kind of breaking down, you know, how, again, your story, the process you went through. Again, one thing that I know is striking a lot of people, you just said it a second ago, child support is voluntary.
Yes.
Explain.
This is not my opinion. This is fact.
Okay.
I'm going to just go to the Code of Federal Regulations, 45 CFR 303.5.
Okay.
The word voluntary is used 20 times.
Okay.
And this is in the voluntary establishment of paternity. In this regulation, it tells them when you got 2 children, when you was in the hospital and Tasha, she had that baby and the lady came in there with that clipboard, handed you that clipboard, take your time.
Right.
Just fill this out whenever you get some time.
Yeah.
At that point, what they just handed you a dual contract that's entering you to a contract. Is it called the acknowledgement of paternity, which enters you into a dual contract with child support, because it tells you that on the actual document, whether it's on the back, whether it's on the bottom, but people don't read.
Wait, on the birth certificate? Wait.
On the acknowledgement of paternity.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think, because I don't remember signing anything in the hospital. But like you said, there's so much going on, it's easy to kind of miss.
And you're vulnerable at that time.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
And they come in and they slide that in on you. But that 45 CFR 303.5 says, because what they're trying to do is establish paternity, saying that who is the actual father of this child. But that regulation says when they do that, when they provide you that acknowledgement of paternity, they're supposed to provide both parents the legal consequences of establishing voluntary paternity. What are the legal consequences? If you fall behind on child support, or if you don't do what we say you're supposed to do, license suspension.
Snap, so you sign up for all that.
Passport, income withholding order, bank levies,
Got you.
the works. You sign up for everything. But that regulation says they're supposed to give it to you by audio, video, or in person, and in writing.
Got you. So not just one or the other.
No, they have to give it to you audio, video, or in person,
And
comma,
in writing.
and in writing.
So essentially they just give you the writing, but don't give you the other portion of it.
It don't stop there. And there's also another comma. And they have to give both parties the opportunity to speak with a trained professional, because they presume, if I told Chuck, hey, Charles, look, man, if you sign this document, you signing up for bank levies, all of these things, you're going to be like, hey, I don't even know if I want to even, I need to go holler at my attorney because.
Right. But a lot of the times, and just kind of speaking on that too, a lot of the times when they hand you information, they do have a professional or somebody, a nurse or somebody, and say, hey, this is just saying X, Y, and Z, but they don't really go over all of the information, and they bank on you signing that.
And at that point, you just entered into a contract,
Not even knowing. And this is more of a bigger conversation too for a lot of people. Read what you're signing. Read what you're signing, but at the same time, the checks and balances is what you're speaking on. It's like you have to make sure that you're properly giving people this information and make sure that you're checking up on that. So kind of go along with the process. You figure out this is not right. You're following up. You've had enough at this point. You're like, okay, what's going on? What's the first step that you did to kind of correct the situation? So
the very first thing I did was I went down to the courthouse here on it's on Commonwealth, but they moved it now. But I went to the courthouse. I went and got 5 documents: the summons, the complaint, the proof of service, the default judgment because I wasn't there, and the actual judgment.
How did you know to get those 5 pieces of documents?
Because that it tells them in Title 42 of the Code of Federal Regulations, it tells you there has to be a summons, there has to be a complaint, there has to be a process of service, and if you get defaulted, there's a default, and then the actual judgment. So these documents have to be in place in order for them to get to an actual judgment. So they send out a summons, says, hey, someone is suing you. Please show up, bring your financial information. If you want to contest it, you can take DNA, or we can just go see a judge. That's the summons. The complaint is a document which says, this is an injured party, this is the person that injured them, and these are the damages. The process of this proof of service shows that you actually got the document. So these things take place, but on those documents, there's a United States code. It's 28 USC 1691.
I love how you just know these off top too. It's like, I gotta make sure that people know.
That's like 5 years put in work. Man.
Yeah, because it says all writs and processes issuing from a court, and all, let's not just breeze past that word. All writs and processes issued in a court of the United States shall be under the seal of the court and signed by the clerk thereof. What that means is it must have the seal of the court saying Los Angeles Superior Court, and it must have, at that time, it was John A. Clark or Sherry Carter or whoever the clerk in Norwalk, not the clerk downtown L.A., not the deputy clerk inside of that court building. So on my document, John A. Clark was the clerk in L.A. County at the time. It had his stamp on it, but under that, it said it was signed by and entered by El Rivera, deputy clerk. And that's just the law. Here's the Supreme Court case law, which is the highest law in the land. It's Scamby versus Tryon that says any document that's signed only by a deputy clerk is void for lack of a judicial signature.
So this document that you have is void.
It's already void. But people always ask, okay, if it's void, how do they get away with it? If it's fraud, how do they get away with it? There's something called prima facie. I'm sure you've heard of the term innocent until proven guilty.
Correct.
That's in a judicial process. Child support is not judicial. It's an administrative process.
Oh my God.
Taking it back to high school, there's the different branches of government.
That's why it's important to pay attention. Kids.
Executive, legislative, and judicial. It's not a judicial process. And these administrative hearings, they work under something called prima facie. Prima facie says that they take everything that is filed as true and correct until you provide evidence to say that it's not.
Bro, I want to know what was going through your mind when all of these things are lining up, right? Because I'm sure you're doing your research and you're realizing, oh, all of this isn't making sense, right? In one moment, it's kind of like, oh, this is amazing because I found out this information. But at the same time, it's like, yo, I've been getting put over for so many years. How did you balance the understanding what you have and what's going on and how you're able to get not over the system, but get through this, but at the same time realizing that you, for lack of a better word, been getting fucked all these years?
Right. It was the drive came from, you're a married man, like myself. 2016, we get married. You already know where it's finna go. We get married. We for our honeymoon, we booked Punta Cana, DR, out of the country. I applied for a passport.
Oh my God.
Manila envelope come. I rip it open. I'm thinking this is my passport. I'm like, oh, wait, denial, child support. Oh, bruh, I can't go.
You can't go, dog.
I can't go. Imagine having to tell your wife the money that we spent on to go out of the country for our honeymoon.
That part is already taken care of. Usually,
it's already taken care of.
Unfortunately, we think about the passport last. We're like, we'll get
right,
that.
I get to it.
Let's book the spot. Let's get all this taken care of. There's no reason for me not to be able to get a passport.
Right, we get married in July. The passport comes in June.
Oh, TJ, come on, dog.
So now I got to tell her I can't go.
Yeah.
How you think that went?
I know it's sick.
Imagine how if you had to tell I can't go.
Yeah.
she said,
And
bro.
no, it's layers to this. It's not that I just can't go. Why can't you go?
Right.
Yeah, it's my passport. Well, what's wrong with the passport? Child
support.
Child
Come
support.
on, bro.
Now, obviously she was privy to the information
Yeah.
before. She kind of already expected and knew what was going on, but didn't know that it's like, here we are again getting visited with this
Come on, bro. Exactly.
nuisance, right? From
You need to fix it.
you need to fix it.
You need to fix it. So
Yikes.
this happens after the lady already told me that I didn't get served and that I was supposed to volunteer into the program. So I was already doing my research. That just put the battery in my back. It was like, oh, we full throttle with it. It's all the way up. So now I'm full-fledged. I take them to court once I got my documents. Once I also look at the proof of service, because the proof of service, it has to be correct. It has to have the date, the time, the person they serve. All of this information has to be on there. I'm looking at it. I'm like, whoa, Michael Tillman.
Wait, what?
Michael Tillman. This is the person that they allegedly served.
I said, your name ain't Michael.
My name ain't Michael. So I say, Michael is a common name,
Yeah,
but there's not a Michael in my family.
bro.
So I said, okay. I'm looking at the address. I'm like, Compton. I ain't lived there since I was a minor. We moved from Compton to Watts while I was still a minor. So if my grandmother and mother moves from Compton to Watts, I can't get a place by myself.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it. So what do? I subpoena the owner. Actually, before I even get to that point, Google is your friend. I Googled the house. Luckily, thank God, the owner of the home, she was the owner then, and she's still the owner to this day. I sent the Google can be your best friend, and it can be your enemy. I found her address on Google. I sends her a subpoena to come to court.
Like, pull up.
I need you to pull up.
Hey, I ain't gonna just call you. Hey, I need you to pull up. The courts need you to pull
up.
Yeah.
But I don't stop there.
Yeah.
I sent Los Angeles Department of Water and Power a subpoena. I need LA County to come testify against LA County. Who lived here at this time and at this date?
That accepted this.
They both came and said, with documents, the owner said at this time, I didn't have any tenants living there. Department of Water and Power said on this day, at this time, on this day, we had no service there. The house was vacant.
Bro, okay. Now I'm getting frustrated because how is this able to happen? Like, how are they able to sign off on that?
Prima facie.
Prima facie is
Prima
critical.
facie.
No checks and balances. And
Prima facie. Prima facie.
Can you explain what the prima facie is?
I did. Prima facie, it's not innocent until proven guilty. Prima facie says that whatever is filed, the court's taking it on its face as true and correct until you provide evidence to say that it's not.
Okay. So I want to kind of fast forward just a little bit because now that you've corrected your situation, right? You have a book and you explain your story. I know immediately a lot of people are reaching out. I know you get a lot of people that reach out to you, man. Yeah, it's a fraud for me too. But let's just be honest. Not everybody
of course
is on that shit, which I love the fact of take care of your kids though.
Right.
So how do you respond to the brothers out there that are trying to claim and jump on it's a fraud, but they not handling their business. But they want to use what you have over here, and maybe, in their case, maybe it's not going fair for them, but they're really not taking care of their kids.
Right. So for that, you have to put in the work. Like once you're going through this process, it doesn't matter as far as what the tools that I give you. If you don't go in there and put in the work, it's not going to work. If you're not actively in your children's life, it's not going to work. Why? Because what the education that I provide people to obtain joint physical custody over their children. Why? Because there's a non-custodial parent, there's a custodial parent. I encourage everyone to get joint physical custody over their offspring. And then also, when people come to me, you can tell when a person, somebody come to me like, yo, bro, I want to get off child support. I don't even respond.
Yeah.
Because I already know where you at. When you get those, yo, bro, I've been fighting to see my kid. I ain't seen my kid in 12 months. I'm calling, I'm texting, I'm going to court. The courts is, this person, they got pictures and you see it all. So it's like, yeah, unfortunately, there are some men and women that don't take care of their children. I just focus on the people that's actually fighting to make the playing field even.
Yeah. What has been one rewarding story that you've seen so far, aside from your own? Maybe somebody that's reached out to you, and by the knowledge that you've been able to kind of break down, to them, that's kind of hit home. Like, damn, see, I'm glad I was able to put this information, because it's one thing to go through this, right? Mm-hmm. And let me ask you this: why was it important? It might be kind of just cliche, but why was it important for you to then put them information out? Because you saw it for yourself, which is great, and it could have been end of story. Mm-hmm. Why at that point was it important for you to say, "No, I got to actually scream from the mountaintops and let people know what's happening"?
Because what they did to me, I just couldn't. I couldn't allow that to be an individual success. Mm-hmm. Like they frauded me for 22 years. Mm-hmm. Now, let's be clear. The case was actually dismissed for extrinsic fraud. Mm-hmm. It says that on the actual order after the hearing. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, I just off the top of my head, one of the most rewarding stories that I could think about, it actually came from Tillman. Like a young lady that he was assisting, her children resided in her home. Her ex-partner went and got on the county and told them she don't help him with the kids, but the kids reside with her, go to school from her house. Wow. They started a child support case against her and the kids. She's the sole custody over those kids. And she had to go in there and go fight it. Even though she proved that she never got served and that the children reside in her home, she is the sole custodial parent. Mm. They still tried to say, "Oh, we'll modify it to 0." She talked to T-Mac. T-Mac's like, "No, dismiss." She went back in there. I need it dismissed. And they got the case dismissed. Like, these people, all they care about is, and this is why, they get they're incentivized on the back end. It gets deep.
Oh, now that makes sense.
They get incentivized.
That makes sense. Okay.
Based on their performance. It's like you working just for commission, because they get a bonus based on their performance to put people on child support.
Okay, let me ask you this. About how much money did they get out of you?
It was
wages, because I don't know how long it took place, but about how much could you say, roundabout, how much did you spend? It
was $57,000.
$57,000. So at this point, you go back and obviously sue, correct? Or is it just kind of like you just take it to the face?
Nah, that's where we are. Like, when the case got dismissed, they offered to pay me back dollar for dollar, no interest. But I like interest too.
I mean,
yeah, I put interest on it
for sure.
Yeah. So what I did was I said, okay, well, you don't want to give me back interest? I took it to federal court. So right now, as we speak, there's a civil lawsuit in federal court against child support. I mean, we at the crib. It's fam. Yeah, it was $10 million, bro.
I mean, you've been distressed for a lot of years, bro.
Yeah,
it's been. I see it.
Yeah,
I understand it.
Yeah.
Let's get into the book.
Okay.
You write this book. Mm-hmm. You make sure your story's out there. Mm-hmm. And you've been going around. Obviously, you're letting the people know that. And I want to talk about some important partnerships and things that's happening as well. I don't know if you want to speak on what's happening, but what's been some things that's been going on since the book has been put out there.
Yeah. So I wrote the book, How I Stopped Child Support Legally. I released it December 23rd, 2022. Mm-hmm. It haven't even been a year yet. And like, when I tell you my life has done a complete 180, like just from this book, I've spoke all across this country, moving from here to there. There are situations in place right now that I never would have even imagined, all because of just the information that I provided inside of this book. Like the book it has my story, but it also has every document that I filed, every document that the county filed, every document child support filed, the documents the courts filed.
So everything that we've been talking about so far, all those,
it's in that book,
Gotcha.
bro. And it's just to show, like, when I say child support is fraud, like, they can't come after me for defamation of character because my case was dismissed for extrinsic fraud.
It gets deep, Chuck. It gets deep.
it's just wild that I mean, I'm gonna say I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that the system is able to kind of like get over on people because, for one, folks don't do their research.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of folks don't read. To be honest, you know what I mean. And even this is one of the most important messages that I'm hearing too, man. This is why you gotta, like, for real, you gotta pay attention in school.
Yeah, you do. Reading, you got to read these contracts.
Yeah.
You have to read these contracts.
It's interesting that we're having this conversation about this because you come from a world of music, right? and the music industry, they tell you that all the time. Read your contracts. Read your contracts. Don't just sign anything. Have somebody review it.
Mm-hmm.
And here you are outside of the music. This is now in your real life,
right?
And you just don't expect to get hit with something like this, you know?
And the thing is, I just had this conversation with somebody else 2 days ago, and it was like, and this was someone just commented on IG. It was like, what's the difference in you entering in a contract for your child or entering a contract for a house or a car? I'm like, well, the difference between those are, and you're voluntarily and willingly entering into those contracts.
Yeah.
And this here, you don't even know that you're even entering into a contract.
Yeah.
They're not giving you the full disclosure. You don't even know.
And entering into a mortgage contract, you're not going to get your license suspended, passport revoked, garnish wages, go to prison.
Yeah.
How does this affect your family life?
What do you mean affect? Like,
well, I mean,
traveling, or you mean like the situation?
The situation in itself. I mean, on a personal tip, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you spoke on wifey a second ago, and just handle it, right? So
yeah.
Obviously, you're on the good side of it, but talk about those moments when things wasn't looking the best. You know what I'm saying? Your relationship with your kids, like, has this had an effect on this throughout this whole process? Because again, the message and the intent behind it are two different things, right? The intent, we know what the intent is. It's like, yo, make sure everything is right, take care of your kids. But again, sometimes people hear the message of child support is fraud. And again, we just from the first question, it's like, oh, you ain't taking care of your kids. You don't want to take care of your kids. So, and I want to kind of just make sure that we're making that very clear. Like, we are taking care of the kids, but at the same time, like, when you have this message out there, does it have an effect on your family? Does it have an effect on your kids, like, moving forward?
For me,
in the moment and moving forward. Sorry.
For me personally, no, it didn't.
Okay.
Because as you said, I'm a great father. I'm gonna be there no matter what. And then as I was going through this, my children are 8 and 1 at that time. So it's like,
they don't understand like that.
They don't really we ain't, at this point, we got a newborn, so we ain't trying to go out of the country. Well, I can't go anyway, but
definitely ain't going. I ain't got no passport.
So, you got to go get shot. So like, as far as, like, it didn't really affect my relationship with my children. Now, my oldest daughter is 7. She's 17 now. Like, she had to, like, this is the thing. Like, when my very first hearing, I had sole custody of my daughter. So I didn't have a babysitter. Just like when I did a homegrown interview with you,
pulling up.
I had my daughter. I didn't have a babysitter. Right. So she got to come.
Yeah.
So she's in it. And, the bailiff is like, yo, this is not a place for a kid. And I'm like, I ain't got no babysitter. Right. I can't not show up.
Yeah.
So like she actually seen me in there. Like she like
And this is the one that.
no.
Okay, so it's another one.
So
Here's why I'm confused,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the case that you're fighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a real kid or no?
Yes.
Is the kid really yours?
No, I was 12 years old. I couldn't even produce semen.
I get that. I get that. So I'm saying, but
No, I'm
so confused because
let me say this right here.
Go ahead.
So the reason why I was put on child support, he's a male. It's a boy.
Mm-hmm.
I was 12 years old. I was not able to produce semen. I never even penetrated the woman.
Okay. But it was somebody that you were involved with.
No, it was, I attempted.
Okay.
I met her that day.
Okay.
I'm 12 years old. I don't know what I'm doing. I try. It never penetrate.
So, okay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it was a real situation.
Yeah.
But, you aren't producing semen. Okay. So that's why I was confused. I'm like, yo, is this a real kid that we're talking about? Or is it somebody?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me, I want to get back to that. So has that, while this is going on, do you have, is there an attempt when you were still up in the air of like what's going on, what's not going on? Because I'm sure at that point you didn't know, you had to get documents to figure out like, yo, okay, you're 12 years old, that didn't go down, whatever the case may be. Were you making an attempt at that point to try to correct the situation, maybe be there for the kid, or were you just waiting until?
Yes, no.
Okay.
So once I started to mature, I reached out to her because before then, I don't even know. It's like, I know there was a situation. I'm with my girl. She's my fiance at this time. She's like, yo, if that kid got your last name or if he got your, we need to figure that out.
It's kind of like Martin in the episode of Martin when the old girl came back. It's like, you got to take care of kids, right?
So like, it is what it is. Like, bro, I reached out.
Yeah.
And I reached out and like, I'm like, yo, so like, where's she? Like, nah, he don't even live with me. He lives with his grandmother, with my kid's other child. And I'm like, okay, so give me the grandmother number. She placed me on hold, bro, for a whole hour. I'm on hold for a whole hour. I hang up the phone.
Wow.
I call back.
Nothing.
I call back like, yo, what's going on? She like, yo, you gonna give me some?
All right. And now I get why. 'Cause we don't want to make it.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. It's going to look negative on that side.
Yeah.
Way. So okay. I just wanted for clarification.
Yeah.
If it ended up being a real kid, because when you were saying it, I thought you were insinuating like when you said I wasn't producing, like how could this even happen? But it was a real situation that took place. But it like it wasn't yours.
No,
the kid wasn't yours.
No,
but they still put child support on you.
And the thing is, because there's a lot of people that's on child support right now where they actually took DNA testing and they know for a fact that this person is not biologically this person's child, but they are the legal father. So therefore, you are responsible for this obligation.
Got you.
Real quick, legal father, you sign
up. So you're right.
Or you made you establish some sort of parental express that you are the father of this child. So at that point you are the legal father. And at that point there's nothing that can be done until you actually go and challenge the evidence. I mean, and like we'd already touched on it a little bit, but I just want to say like, even like I actually spoke to him. And we chopped it up for a while. My sister found him on Facebook.
That's crazy.
And I talked to him and he was like, yo, at first, she told me you were my father, but later on she told me who my father really is, and this is who I know my father to be. And it was like, because I'm like, yo, do you want to take a test? He like, nah.
No need.
Nah, because like as I was a kid, she told me this, I told you, but I lied. This is who you're.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just there's a lot of different layers to this, man, and it's a lot of layers to it. But I'm glad you're speaking on it for one. You talking about your journey, and then giving a layout for other people that are going through something similar, right?
Yeah.
That can kind of figure the situation out, and again, documents, get it all right. What's next, man? Well, I mean, I know you're going around the country. You're doing a lot of speaking engagements. But what's the next step to this as far as getting the information out there for the people?
The next step is the ultimate goal. The short-term goal is just to provide education for everyone to know that they have parental rights. That's first, because a lot of people get jammed up in the situation because they don't even know that they even have rights.
Right.
That's the short-term goal, is just to provide that information. The long-term goal is reform, is to reform the child support system, because people are being put on child support today for laws that were put in place in 1935.
That's wild.
In 1935, this is Title 4A, when women couldn't work. They couldn't work in 1935 because at this time, men were going. This is after the Great Depression. Men are going to the army, or if they left a woman at that point, the woman needed government assistance. But in 1975, they added Title 4D, which is child support enforcement. Title 4A, they give that money out as a grant. It's a grant. The money that they give out is a grant. All that cash aid, food stamps, Medi-Cal, that's a grant. But then they amended it and added Title 4D in 1975 to enforce, to go back to get the money that was given out as a grant. What is a grant?
It's free money.
It's free money. You don't have to give it back. So they're double dipping. They're double dipping. So the ultimate goal is reform, man.
Have you seen any change thus far since dropping the book, since putting the word out there? Have there any laws have been changed, or are we any step closer since doing all this? Or
No, I mean, it hasn't even been a year. The book only been out 10 months.
But you're still making an impact.
I'm making an impact, and what I have seen is, especially here in the county of Los Angeles, they're not even allowing people. This is crazy. They're not even allowing people to go get their actual documents anymore, because so many people are going, yo, I need a summons, I need to complain. They like, yo, what is going on? You listening to child support is fraud. They're aware. This is what people are telling me. They now have a kiosk there that says, if you print these documents out on this kiosk, you cannot sue us.
Get out of here. That's not.
Come on, bruh.
Is that don't sound legal?
It is not. It's not. So
But they can make their own policies in their own facilities.
Yeah, so those are some of the changes that I've seen, like, right away. Like, man, I'm just looking to, like I said, I didn't want my success to be an individual success. I have, like, we talked personally, and I was telling you about a real big situation that I got going on. I want them to announce it.
Got you.
Because I don't want to get fired on my day off.
Right. I was say, like, hey man, you had one job. All right. And,
but like, this is like, it's unimaginable, bro. Like the situation that God has placed me in based on my life, events that took place in my life. Like, and I just said this the other day on IG. It's like, bro, there's over 100,000 followers on their Instagram page within a matter of 10 months. And I understand the position that I'm in. And to them, I took an oath to provide high-level education in the most simplest form, and to do it with honor, integrity, and like, I don't take that position lightly, nor will I misuse it. So I'm very cautious about the things that I put out there, because I know child support fraud is divisive. Right. It can be. But once you actually hear the message, it's like, that's why it's always, when you hear child support is fraud, immediately after you hear me say, take care of them kids, though, because this ain't no get out of jail free card.
When did you decide to add on that tag? Because I felt like I've heard it was just the initial one at first. Right. And then you added on that part.
Because it just came naturally, bro. Okay. It's just being an artist and creative, and just seeing, you see the comments, oh, you ain't taking care of your kids, or oh, this for the deadbeats. Right. And I'm like, nah. And then one day I'm just talking childsupportisfraud.com, but take care of them kids, though, man, because this ain't no get out of jail free card. And it stuck. Like, immediately people take care of them kids, though. It's a thing now. And just for everybody out there, when they use the term deadbeat, If you look at the definition of deadbeat, if you owe T-Mobile, by definition,
You a deadbeat.
you are a deadbeat. If you have a derogatory mark on your credit report, you are a deadbeat. Because it just, what the deadbeat says is that you are not financially taking care of a contract that you're skipping out on something. Yeah. And a lot of people go to jail for child support, bro. You cannot go to jail for child support. Child support is a debt. It says there's 28 USC 2007 says you cannot go to jail for a debt. Only debt you can go to jail for is debt for fraud.
I mean, you know what? I know here's the thing. This is so foreign to me because I haven't been in this situation. And I know a lot of people that are going through this, and a lot of people that may be watching this or, come across your page or your messaging, and they have questions. And I want to provide the opportunity for people that do have questions to reach out, hit you personally, grab the book. If they got questions, how can they reach out to you if there's anything that we haven't touched on just yet with those questions that they may have?
The best way is to go on Child Support is Fraud on Instagram.
Okay.
That's the best way. As far as DMing, Instagram, they got me a little restrictions right now because too many people are sending DMs asking questions, and when you respond too much,
oh yes, it looks like spam.
Yeah, it looks like spam. So they put me on restrictions for a year. It's been 6 months now.
God, are you kidding me?
Yeah. So I created a backup page. Is Child Support Fraud. So that's for the DMs. But that's the best way to go about it. Or just visit childsupportersfraud.com. Do consultations, classes, courses, and things of that nature, just to educate people of their parental rights.
I feel like this whole episode has been an episode of like, I do dad advice, right? It's advice for all the fathers out there. I feel like this whole episode has been one. But if you can leave the fathers with another piece of fatherly advice, right? Some dad advice for the dads out there, what would that piece of advice be for them?
Don't take it personal. And what I mean by that is, naturally, your children, they're going to love on their mother more than the father. You're going to be laying in the bed and they're coming there, good morning, mom, give mom a hug, and walk right out the room. And you're like, hey, I'm right here. I'm right here. Yeah. I'm right here. Or, you may be in the living room and they'll walk past you to go to the bedroom. Mom, can I get something out the cabinet? It's like, I'm sitting right here, though. Don't take it personal. They love you. It just being there. And the other thing I can give you is being present. Like a lot of people like to, I'm there because I pay, and I even jump on people's head about that on child support. Like, yo, I pay. Kids, they don't really care about the money. As far as like before you get to teenagers, because when teenagers, they want their bread.
Money. Yeah, they want the money.
Yeah, but up until preteen, they want the time. Yeah, it's the time, just being there. Like my kids, they like, okay, yeah, dad, you work, but can we go here? Can we go there? They want that time. Like we was just getting ready to leave the other day, and we was finna go to grab something to eat. One of my sons picked up the ball. I tried to block it. We outside playing basketball for 15 minutes. We ain't even left yet. It's just that they want that time.
Moments, they
want that time. So just being there, it ain't always about the money. Yes, kids cost. Yeah. They cost like a mud. But time is what's really important until they get to a teenager.
Yeah, then you got to get a little bit more bread.
You got to get your bread up.
Lionel, TJ, Tillman, man, thank you so much for coming on through, man, and explaining, child support is a fraud, but take care of them kids, though.
Because this ain't no get out of jail free card.
Ain't no get out of jail free card, man. I appreciate you as always being stand up. And I just look forward to the progression, the growth, and everything else you got going on. You got a home here with me. You can always keep it homegrown.
Oh, man, for sure.
Love, brother. Appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.